Hello and welcome to the Vida Spiritual Connection. I am Reverend Keven Kadel. Today I talk about activism. My intention is to dissolve any reticence or hesitance you may have around activism, because activism, if you so choose, is deeply spiritual. There are many dimensions to activism. Could be political or economic, spiritual, environmental, and today I delve into social or cultural activism. And there is this important spiritual component to activism. So I want to paraphrase our community spiritual leader for the Centers for Spiritual Living, and her name is Reverend Sonny Cantrell Smith. And Reverend Sonny says that there is a sacred activism, and sacred activism is born as a natural outcome of applying principles of mind. And it is born into mind from a vision of a society of greater good. And now it returns to the thinker. It is the pathway to addressing every crisis that may come. And sacred activism begins within. You may have a personal desire, or it could be a call or an intention to make changes toward a perceived greater good. And you do this perhaps through activism. And by activists, I mean one who acts to promote or impede, to direct or intervene in social, political, economic, environmental, social reform. If you already are acting towards a better world in the outer world, consider how you prepare your consciousness for the actions you take. And if you're not active in the outer world, know that sacred activism, that is, taking action towards a better world in the outer world, that it follows naturally from your inner work. Allow me to dig into this a little bit. Activism sometimes often begins with a trigger or a button or perhaps a pain point. And therefore, the context out of which activism arises is important. Activism that is only an emotional reaction to some outer world of appearance could be violence or harm or injustice or inequality or exclusion or hatred or bigotry. Reactionary activism is not very effective. It tends to perpetuate the negativity rather than healing it. Emotionally driven activism amplifies effects without regard for cause, without regard for a real and lasting change. And that happens by discovering and changing at the cause. Now, in the science of mind and spirit, the cause of any discord or disease or conflict is some faulty or latent or vacant mentality, what we call stinking thinking. And stinking thinking is that unproductive thinking. It is that pattern of habits and beliefs that contribute to something that is not productive. And those thoughts and beliefs might be in separation or lack or limitation or scarcity. And that naturally gives rise to discord, disease, and conflict. The science of mind and spirit posits that one can transform any discord, any disease, or any conflict by renewing one's mind. To heal and grow, the activist begins with the intention to heal at the causal level, with the intention to transform those false or vacant or latent mentalities, to heal separation with connection and empathy, to heal lack and scarcity with a consciousness of abundance and prosperity and plenitude, to heal limitation with a consciousness of affluence, to affirm an ever-increasing flow of good in one's life that naturally flows through the surrounding world. Sacred activism arises from an idea, an intuition, a feeling, which could be a want, a need, or a desire, and it could be a synthesis of all of these, which I've termed before we call a call or a calling. In Sacred Activism, Reverend Sunny urges the activist to vision around this call, this convergence of thought and feeling and intuition. Daily, frequently ask yourself, for this call that I now respond to, what is the divine high idea? What greater good is emerging? As you allow the divine high idea to fill your inner vision, notice the qualities, the feelings, the intuitions, the images. And the names you give to these qualities or feelings, those become the language of the vision that you carry. And that language forms affirmations. Those affirmations activate this convergence of thought and feeling and intuition. It turns it into actions, and the actions you take then are natural. They are guided by living spirit as a part of this vision that you have caught. And they are natural in that you are infused, the actions you take are infused with a love, a peace, a joy, an intelligence, a creativity, and most of all, a compassion for self and others. That vision you catch informs your intentions, and the basic intention is for something better, a better life for you, a better life for those your life touches, a better life for humanity, a better world for all God's creation. Intentions naturally adapt to changing conditions. So it's helpful to frequently review, revise, and replace those intentions. Is what I'm doing in accord with my intentions? And there are a lot of possibilities, a lot of answers to that question. Perhaps what I am doing is not aligning with my intentions. Then it's time to review and see if the intention is still valid, and then change what I'm doing to better align with the intention, if that intention is valid. Or notice what I'm doing is improving conditions, and then I review, revise, and replace the intention. Activism, whether personal or communal, means confronting, impeding, intervening that which is destructive or harmful or negative. You do that in order to direct, promote, nurture, support that which is constructive and positive and mutually beneficial. And the first act of activism applies to you. Your spiritual practices are actions you take towards your greater good. As you meditate, affirm, affirmatively pray, journal, study metaphysics, vision, sacredly serve, engage in spiritual counseling, spiritually give, and immerse in beloved community, you confront, impede, and intervene in anything that is negative, destructive, detrimental in your life in order to direct, promote, nurture, and support that which is constructive and positive and mutually beneficial. Your activism for your consciousness turns away from that which no longer serves, and it turns toward your highest and greatest good. That activism is activating more of the spiritual truth of who you are, and who you are at your essence is pure spirit. As you apply sacred activism to heal and grow your consciousness, you create a foundation in consciousness for sacred activism out into the world, into the surrounding world. So sacred social activism naturally flows from your work in consciousness. It's natural that you choose activism, an activism that heals and grows perhaps your primary relationship or your family relationships or your friendships. It heals and grows your workplace relationships, and it heals and grows those relationships that connect all throughout your community and the world. Sacred activism, this spiritually based activism, is vastly different than activism driven solely by emotion. Remember, in the science of mind and spirit, feelings are causes separate and distinct from emotions, which are effects. So in addition to those inward sensations or feelings, conscious thought, unconscious habits, patterns, and beliefs, intuitions, five sensory perceptions, these are all causes that you can choose to express in various ways, including express as emotions. Emotional reactions, those are natural. Within the emotion is valuable information. Even though activism may arise from an emotional reaction, sacred activism asks you to take a pause, to allow the full benefit of those emotions, to vision around this call to action. I used to get very triggered by things I would see out in the world, social injustices, inequality, exclusion. And the emotions for me ranged from anger to despair to sympathy. The knee-jerk reaction might be, for me, like taking to the streets in anger or to fire off an angry letter or a negative social media post. Usually this just increased my anger or despair and really did little to address the healing that this moment I was in required. It is, in essence, a form of praying the problem rather than praying the solution. As I traveled along my spiritual path, I have learned much about emotions, especially in this science of mind teaching, where we have this clear connection between inward sensation and feelings and outward expressions, which are emotions or effects. With years of dedicated daily, weekly, monthly spiritual practices, with the help of many practitioners and ministers and teachers and classes, I am able to change that faulty mentality about emotions to be empowered and a choice to express my thoughts and my feelings and my intuitions as healthy emotions, and in turn, allow and engage those emotions for all that they have to offer, which is an intelligence and a transformational power and benefit. And what is true for me is true for you too. The science of mind lays out some simple spiritual principles, and you can apply those through simple spiritual practices. And you too can uncover any stinking thinking, release it, revise it, replace it, and improve your life and the lives your life touches. As you grow spiritually, activism for self and the surrounding world is natural. It takes many forms, and you get to choose what is best for you. Prepare your consciousness, set an intention for positivity, for productivity, for compassion, for connection, for circulation of the light and love of living spirit. Then, if you choose to write a letter or go on social media or boycott something or circulate a petition, or engage in peaceful public protest, you do so with a powerful, productive, positive, and compassionate mentality. As you consider society and all your relationships, there is an ideal, a high intention, a divine quality that I will call a healthy interdependency, borrowing from a little of the psychotherapy world. Interdependency is a healthy balance of caring for others and receiving care from others, and that forms a complete and divine circuit of giving and receiving. In interdependency, boundaries are easily set and respected. There is open communication. There is a mutual respect, and that communication and respect together, that grows a real trust. Since relationships with other human beings includes all beings everywhere, be it animal, plant, or mineral, keep uppermost in mind and full in your heart that at their essence, they are just like me and they are just like you. You and I and everyone and everything ultimately intend to live the one life and think with the one mind and connect through love, peace, joy, and compassion. Paraphrasing Ernest Holmes' Sermon by the Sea, and this is kind of the kernel of activism in our movement. Ernest said, find me one person who is against nothing and for something. One who is redeemed enough not to condemn others out of the burden of their soul. And you find that person and you will find another Savior, another Yeshua, an exalted human being. In all your activism, prepare your consciousness. Be your own sacred activist first and foremost. And as you do, allow your heart and mind to naturally expand and extend to bless the world as you are blessed. As a sacred social activist, be against nothing and be for healthy, balanced, respectful, mutually beneficial interdependency. The sacred social activist you are is open, loving, joyous, peaceful, accepting, and compassionate. I know and trust you are loving, lovable, and loved. Enjoy this day. Until next time, farewell. Thanks for tuning in to the Vida Spiritual Connection. Please use the links in the description to request prayer, to donate to Vida Spiritual Learning Center, and to join the Vida mail list. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And for more information, visit our website at vidaslc.org.